And now, Rabbi Leanna Moritt is the leader of the Roosevelt Island Synagogue, as I'm sure you know. And she's a fervent believer in the four freedoms for all people, everywhere in the world, starting right here on Roosevelt Island. To close the speaking program, please welcome Rabbi Moritt.
So good Shabbos, that's what we say, and good Sabbath to you all. And I want to thank you for inviting me. And before I make my remarks, I'd actually just like to invite all of you, any of you, to a celebratory Shabbat Kiddush that in the community room of 531 Main Street. Following the program, please come say hello and meet our congregation and your neighbors. So, you know, for us, today is a day to celebrate creation, and I think that we can safely say that here today we have an awful lot to celebrate. It's a gorgeous day. And, you know, long before I was listening to politicians, or I even heard about FDR, or learned about freedom and government, I learned about it the way all American kids do: Saturday morning cartoons. I learned worldly wisdom back when I was watching these wonderful short musical educational commercials that taught us grammar, multiplication, science, and of course government. And I swear to you, it's how I know the multiplication tables and the preamble to the Constitution. You may remember this one. It goes like this. In 1787, I'm told our founding fathers did agree, you know it, to write a list of principles for keeping people free. The USA was just starting out, a whole brand new country. And so our people spelled it out, the things that we should be. And they put those principles down on paper and they called it the Constitution. And it's been helping us run our country ever since then. And the first part of the Constitution is called the preamble. And it tells what those founding fathers set out to do. So listen up, and if you know it, please sing it with me. It goes, "We the people, in order to form a more perfect union," I don't hear you, "establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty. To ourselves and our posterity do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America." Well, of course, cartoons grew into a little bit more of a sophisticated understanding of freedom. And along the way, I learned that the Constitution was more than just this catchy tune. But the preamble begins it, and it lays the foundation for everything else that follows, including the Bill of Rights, which of course the four freedoms are based on. Now, we've heard a lot of speeches today, and I'm not sure that we're here for a civics lesson. But at the same time, like this phenomenal park, our lives are the canvas upon which our choices are painted. And that's what makes each of our lives a work of art. And how we craft the choices we make with the freedoms that we're endowed is the difference between a painting and a masterpiece. Now, this park, it's been called the spiritual heart of New York. I think I agree. And today I want to talk about FDR's four freedoms through the eyes of artists. The art of Louis Kahn, the art of Norman Rockwell, and the art of living a meaningful life. Now, some of us may recall that in addition to inspiring the UN, human rights, and our park, America's hugely popular painter of the day, Norman Rockwell, also painted representations of these same four freedoms. They became the cover of the Saturday Evening Post. The U.S. Treasury Department toured these paintings around the country and raised over $139 million for war bonds from the tour. And these four paintings became postage stamps in 1943 and then again in 1946. So how do we actually understand freedom? in all of these works of art? Well, for our park, all of the details, Kahn insisted on two elements, a garden and a room. Why a garden and a room? Because to Kahn, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Gina taught me this. A garden was the symbol of man's mastery over nature, and a room is the beginning of architecture. And this was his blueprint for freedom brought to life in space and in stone. How's that? Because freedom can be likened to the land before it becomes a garden. You see, we understand that an individual's freedom comes first. It's an uncultivated garden. It comes with being born human. And this is our sacred narrative, ours and many of yours. Adam and Eve in the garden begin free from all cares and wants, free from the need of food or shelter or want, freedom from fear. And our Passover, the quintessential celebration of the freedom from any human master. And we celebrate that freedom every 7 days today with the Sabbath that recalls that exodus from Egypt. Freedom is what we're born with. But what's not inherently human and that needs to be taught is the responsibility to ensure that freedom for everyone. Because to really fully realize the glory and the potential of humanity is to channel that freedom into something greater than just our own desires and whims. And the ultimate challenge in every life is to sustain ourselves while reaching past our own individual desires to ensure the rights of others. And in Jewish terms, and in many others, that's the purpose of Torah. Our Bible constantly reminds us that we need to care for the widow and the orphan, the stranger and the homeborn alike, and that is when we taste true freedom. Now, Kahn's design of the garden as the symbol of man subduing nature is his architectural embodiment of our mastering and our channeling our innate freedom for the good of something greater than just ourselves. We the people, not only just me the individual. And the room that flows from the memorial's garden, in Kahn's words, the beginning of architecture. In Jewish terms, that structure happens to be called mitzvot, commandments. They are the structure, the rules by which we live that embody the sacred teaching of Torah. Mitzvah, commandments, are the room in which we live and the life of empowering freedom for ourselves and for others. Now, we face the UN, and in FDR's vision, the UN is the ultimate structure that would ensure freedom for the world. In a religious structure, we look toward the ultimate redemption and the ultimate repair of the world. And metaphorically speaking, and in the words of Isaiah,